cinnamon rolls. And I actually technically call these cinnamon knots. These would be considered a treat. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be gorging yourself on cinnamon rolls all the time, but we do, we eat a lot of real food here, and sometimes that real food is treats. These in particular I'm making for an event that I'm going to tonight, but I grew up making these cinnamon rolls as cinnamon knots instead of regular cinnamon rolls, and I was just thinking how I had never seen anybody else do this, and I thought it would be really fun to show you how we did it. So my mom did this. I have no idea whether she came up with the idea on her own or if she saw somebody else do it somewhere, but like I said, I've never seen anybody else do it. So I have a whole pan here already of cinnamon knots, which I'm going to move out of the way because I'm going to get a new pan out. And you get to see my one-of-a-kind kitchen that's conglomerated with 3 different kinds of cupboards and stuff because we live in a shop at the moment. So I use cooking spray. This is one of the fudge items I have that I use. It's not the best for you, but for me it's easy and it's quick, and I don't use it a lot just for things like this, but it makes the job a lot easier. So I have a pile of dough here, and what I did is I made a recipe of roll dough, and it was about 8-9 cups of flour were in this dough. I divided the dough in half, and then the first half I did into 24 rolls, and the second half I'm doing into 24 rolls. So I start by dividing my dough into 2 pieces, then I divide my dough into 4 pieces, so each piece in half, and you're trying to get them all pretty nearly the same size, but it's not rocket science. And then each of the 4 pieces I'm going to divide in half again, and half again. So then I will have 8 pieces of dough. 8 pieces of dough. And then with the 8 pieces, each of the pieces that's left, I'm going to divide into 3 approximate little, they're just little lumps. You can see they're not very big, of dough. So I will end up with 24 lumps of dough. If you feel one is small and another is large, then I'll pinch some off and add it to that one. So quickly get through all these, and it's pretty straightforward. Don't need to worry about it too much. If one roll though is slightly bigger than another, nobody's really going to care. Your kids are going to go for that one and it'll be gone. If your kids are like my kids anyways. What is the biggest? Okay. And then when I have done, I have 24 rolls. I'm going to put 12 on each of these pans here that I have out. So I'm taking my 1 piece of dough, and then I'm going to take it and stretch it out about 6 to 8 inches long. What I have here in these pans is I have melted butter. You can kind of see that in there. And in this pan I have organic sugar from Costco, and then I fresh grind cinnamon. So I get cinnamon chips and then I grind it in a coffee grinder, and that's what this mixture is. So I'm going to take my rope, I'm going to dip it in the butter, then in to the sugar, and then, stepping closer here, I'll take my dough and I'm going to actually just tie it into a knot. See how that works? Very nice and neatly. And I'm just going to do that with every single one of these. So it's a little bit different because your sugar is on the outside instead of the inside of your cinnamon roll. But it's really delicious. It's actually, we think they're more tasty this way. I'm not exactly sure why, but for some reason we think they are. They get this kind of crusty, crunchy coating on the outside and a little bit on the inside since you tied the knot. So again, I'm taking the rope, wrapping around, and I'm just tying a knot, bringing the end through, and then it just looks like this. So pretty simple, straightforward. I'm going to pause this video, and I'm going to come back later on to show you a finished product. Okay, so now I know a number of you are going to ask, wait, you ground your cinnamon? So yes, I grind my own cinnamon because when I grind my own cinnamon, it is much fresher and just more intensely flavored. It's a lot better. Yummy, very yummy. Okay, so when I say cinnamon, my ground cinnamon, I purchased my cinnamon in bulk bag like this. And what I use in these cinnamon rolls is actually cinnamon chips, what it's called, cinnamon chips. But in reality, it's actually cassia, or you may hear it, cassia, C-A-S-S-I-A, I think. And that's actually what all of your commercial cinnamons are, because it has a more intense, kind of hot, really bright cinnamon flavor. That's what all cinnamon is, unless you specifically get a different kind of cinnamon. And I purchased the cinnamon as chips. So if you would go to the store and you purchased a cinnamon stick, you know, they're just kind of curled maybe once inside, and they're really about this long, and they're very hard. That's what these are. And that's also not cinnamon stick, that's actually cassia. That's what these are, is those cinnamon sticks just chipped into smaller chipped pieces. I'll let you see how big they are. So they grind really well, but then they have this really hot, fresh and bright flavor. This is my grinder here, and that's what it looks like when it's ground. It's a little bit darker, and it's hot. It's really good. It's super good. Big difference. Okay, but if you want actual real cinnamon, that's a different story. These are actually real cinnamon, and if you look it up, you'll find that the ones that you purchase at the store are cassia, but these real cinnamon sticks, the way you can tell is they're much softer. Like, I can break this real easily with my hand, and they have a kind of like a cigar, like they're filled with lots of layers instead of just being curled once or twice in there. And this tastes like cinnamon, but it's got a very heady, more not bright, but just more heady and fragrant, and I think of it as more an adult type of taste. My kids don't like this taste as well as the traditional cinnamon or cassia that they're used to. It's hard to explain the difference, but there's a slight difference, and I do both. I have used both, but I stick with the regular, what we're all used to tasting as cinnamon for cinnamon rolls, like especially like this where I'm taking them out. So where do I get this? I buy these in bulk from a place called Azure Standard. It's A-Z-U-R-E, Azure Standard, STANDARD.com. And you can, they have a truck route all over the U.S., or you can order things UPS that aren't refrigerated or frozen to your house. So the company that makes these is Oregon Spice Company out of Portland, Oregon. All right, so we're back now with a final pan of cooked cinnamon rolls. So it was pretty easy and fun, and just a different way to do it. And I pulled this one off here that I'm munching on myself. They have a really fun crusty bottom, kind of almost caramely on the bottom. And then I actually made a little glaze and put on these. And super yummy, super fun. Thanks for watching.